side that you don't know. I can't wait to get you all alone. Once I'm in, there ain't no letting go. Mind games until you lose control.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's up, traders? What's going on? Welcome back and happy Money Thursday. How are we all doing today on this fine Thursday, day number 2 of November? Woo! I'm excited to be here. I am ready to rock and roll, and I'm ready to have another amazing day in the market. Yesterday was awesome. Yesterday, we had some phenomenal market conditions. We had some big-time profits being made. What a way to start a new month, guys. We came in, we crushed it, we hit it hard, we took advantage of the market, and we started November strong and profitable. I want to have another great day today. Day number 2, baby, in the books. Let's make it happen. Let's crush it. Let's always have fun like we do, and take the best of the best trades, because when we take the best of the best trades, we make money, and that's what we're here to do, is make some money. So a byproduct is take the best of the best trades and the money will follow, guys. But I'm excited to be here. Day number 2 of November. Let's start diving into it. Let's jam this pre-market rundown. Let's get you guys prepared for today's trading session. Talk about what we got going on today. What are my expectations? Where do I think the market could be headed? And what are my game plans? What am I looking to do today to make money in the market? Gonna jam over the next 45 minutes, get you guys prepared so you guys can come in confidently, strategically, with a game plan established to attack this market and put the odds of winning in your favorite, guys. So before we do dive into it, though, who do we got inside the chat today? What is going on? Steve, good morning. Christy Q, how you doing today? William Stir, Jonathan Cole, Zach's in the house, ready to rock and roll. What's up, brother? Good morning. Trader Adam Corey, what's up, playa? Good morning. And if you haven't hit me with a good morning, you better do so right now. You guys know the drill. Johnny Holmes, what's up, brother? Tyler, how you doing? Jeremy Doss, he is back. What's up, brother? Good morning. Happy Money Thursday, guys. Let's start diving into it. We do have a few lovely individuals over on YouTube right now. We got 43 beautiful men and women. I told you guys last week that the day on YouTube that we get 100 concurrent viewers and 100 likes on the stream, I'm going to pick somebody and give them a free membership. To this day, we still haven't gotten everybody from TikTok over to YouTube yet. To get 100 viewers and 100 likes, which is actually a pretty simple task. We were like 20 away last week. I'm going to give someone a free membership, right? You got 1 in 100th odds of winning a free membership to our trading program. So let's make it happen. And then, like I said, every 100 people, I'm just going to pick somebody. So when we hit 200 people, I'm going to pick somebody else. 300 people, pick somebody else. And we'll continue to do giveaways. If we get 1,000 concurrent viewers at any point in time, that's going to be like $20,000 in memberships given away for free. Right? That's a lot, right? And you could be one of those lucky people that get one of those free memberships to one of our trading programs. So make it happen, guys. Make it happen. Let's go. But good morning, BK. What's up, brother? Brent, good morning. Benny B, Jason, Terry, Kevin, Booski. What's up, Booski? Kevin Francis, how you doing? If Celsius Energy Drink does that for him, I need to get a case sent to my house immediately. Good morning. I wouldn't say it's the Celsius. I would say it's just me, my personality, and how I am. But I think the Celsius definitely heightens that. It brings a lot of that out of me, for sure. So I just love being energetic, man. Just to start our day, this energy is it's powerful stuff, man. It bleeds on over to you guys, starts making you feel all good. You feel the energy, you feel those vibration levels going on up. And I just love being excited, being positive, baby. We're gonna have some fun today. We're gonna get you guys prepared, and we are gonna make it happen. So let's dive into it, and let's start jamming, guys. It's 8:46. We got about 30 minutes to get you guys up and running. So we're going to review the economic calendar. Why? What do we got going on today? Do we have any data that's dropping that we need to be mindful of to make sure that we're positioned correctly in the market and that we mitigate our risk? Okay, we'll talk about what's going on the economic calendar, review the SPY and the Qs with you guys. We'll talk about my one penny stock that's on watch today. That's going to be CLLS. We got Apple earnings tonight, and we do have some decent opportunity today with Apple. We'll discuss that. And then I have a pretty large watch list today. Like Tesla looks pretty good, Affirm, maybe Roku, Alphabet, Amazon, Meta. We'll hit on like maybe the top 2 or 3. We won't have time to hit on all 6 or 7. We'll hit on the top 2 or 3 there. Make sure you guys are fully up to speed. We'll discuss CLLS for you small cap traders. Obviously the SPY and the Qs, as that's where 80% of traders put their focus anyway. And we'll have some fun, guys. Get you prepared. Today, not really a big day. You had jobless claims data dropping this morning at 8:30. We see the market getting a nice big rip on up, nice big push due to initial jobless claims data that we had. And so 8:30, we had initial jobless claims, came in at 217, forecasted to be at 210. You take a look at your continuing claims as well. That's the data that we had dropping today. But you do have more data dropping here after market open. But it's not the type of data that's going to really move the market. So it's not a day like you have JOLTS. Like Tuesday, was it? Yeah, we had JOLTS data. We had so much data. I think it was Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, all at like 10 o'clock. And it's like that's the type of data that you guys are going to be hands-off with, right? Like put a hard stop in the system, right? Or just flatten your position, mitigate risk, right? Don't hold a trade through data hoping it goes in your favor. That's a gamble. We're not here to gamble. We're here to make consistent money. Okay, and if we gamble, we're not going to consistently make money. So holding a position blindly through a data drop, it's super risky. The odds are 50-50. You're essentially gambling, and we're not here to gamble. We're here to make money consistently. So again, today you don't have anything like that to where it's like, hey, you got to really like flatten that position. You have a very, very key important economic, event happening or data being released at a certain point in time. The only thing you have at 10 o'clock today is going to be factory orders month over month, which is of medium importance, but that's not the type of data that really moves the market. The type of data that's going to move the market is the Fed's interest rate decision that we had yesterday at 2 o'clock or the press conference that follows at 2:30, and that's definitely data that really brings in some volume and some action to the market. So it was important to be hands-off around 2 to 2:30, be flat, wait for data to drop, wait for Jay Powell to start giving his remarks during that press conference, and let the market kind of start to gain a sense of clarity and a sense of direction, and then reapproach the market, then come back in and make it happen. And yesterday was a really, really good day. So again, checking out the economic calendar, all of the key data is out of the way. The only thing that you have this morning, 10 o'clock, factory orders month over month. That's not the type of data that you have to be flat on, in my opinion. I wouldn't necessarily close a position due to that data. But I'm mindful that 10 o'clock we got data. Finger will be on the trigger just in case, right? But I'm not going to put a hard stop in if I'm in a trade. I'm not going to flatten that position if I'm in a trade because it's not that type of data. In my opinion, that's going to send the market ripping 2 points or dropping 2 points. But if I'm in a trade, I'm mindful of 10 o'clock, fingers on the trigger just in case, but we're pretty much in the clear for today. So we got to go back to the drawing board on the SPY. So I was feeling pretty good here, right? All of my levels identified, really prepared for the day, ready to attack it. But now we're starting to break this overhead zone of resistance, and that was actually a zone that I was thinking to play puts off of today, but we're clearly pushing through that zone due to initial jobless claims, a lot of volume moving in, saw another, $1.50 push to the upside here. So right back to the drawing board, and let's get a really, really good idea of where the SPY is headed next, guys. All right, so we're just going to go fresh, and we are going to start from scratch. The first area that I want to go ahead and get marked up is just all of this prior resistance right here. Okay, so there's a slight zone of all this resistance, right? We come up into the zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different times, got rejected, got rejected, got rejected. Obviously, we know the SPY's at like 426, 427, so we're above this zone. But that's going to be like the nearest zone of support for the SPY. And honestly, we can probably bring that up a smidge here, right? Come back and connect a lot of these lows, these lows, these lows, and these highs. That gives us a really, really solid zone here on the SPY, right? We have prior support, prior support. Look at all that support. Look at all that resistance. Look at all that resistance. We can clearly see that if we open here today and we see the SPY pulling back into this zone, that's going to be a great area of support. Okay, so that's going to be the first area that really stands out to me on the SPY. That's between 424.46 and 425.13. All right, then I got to look left and gauge where are our overhead levels of resistance going to be today here on the SPY. So let's go right into the daily because I'm using a 1 hour time frame here with pre-market, post-market turned off. I'm going to go right back into the daily, and I'm going to start just looking at these lows here because these are some lows that we were playing off of over the past couple of weeks. And we just have all of these prior lows, right? So all of these prior lows, and these were some lows that we were playing off of here in, late September. And then here just a couple of weeks ago, that was an area that was respected as low of day on the 19th and then high of day on the 20th, right? And that was an area that we were getting short and playing puts there on October 20th. So that's still an area that I want to keep on watch. But like I said, we're pushing above that level as well here. So I want to really just focus on this zone, the first zone that we identified, because that's going to be a much more higher probability area, a more key area of support here on the SPY is going to be that lower zone that we just identified between 424.46, 425.13, right? So if the SPY at any point in time comes back inside of the zone today, that's going to be a great area of support that we could look to play some calls off of if the SPY even pulls back into that lower zone of support. But where could we see the SPY go on up to, right? The next key area that I'm seeing here on the SPY is going to be right here between 428.72 and 429.70 on the SPY. All of that prior resistance before that big time breakout, we saw it respected here as we return to it as support resistance, and then we see that we held it up as support here a few times as well early October. So this is going to be like the next overhead zone of resistance that I'm seeing here on the SPY for today. So that gives us, another maybe 2 to 2.5 points to the upside here on the SPY today, guys. All right. And again, we're going to be gapping up. So we're gapping up pretty nice. We closed yesterday at 422.66. We're going to be gapping up to 426.84 at this point in time. That's a pretty nice gap up. So with that being said, we're gapping above yesterday's high day, obviously. We're gapping up above that 200 SMA. We're above the 20 EMA. We're above that zone of prior support resistance. I mean, there's going to be a lot of decent potential today with the SPY, in my opinion. But I need to see the thing pull back. It's like I don't want to touch this long here when I know that great support's way down here. So there may not even really be an opportunity for me to get long today at the start of the day because we're opening right in the middle of key support and key resistance. And my big thing is letting the market come to me before grabbing an entry. If I see key support here, well, I want to be looking to get long off key support. If I see key resistance, I want to be looking to get short off key resistance, right? I don't want to take any subpar opportunities. I really want to wait for the market to come to me and set up and develop and provide me with an opportunity at a very key, significant zone of daily support resistance. And you can see that we're going to be right in the middle of key support and key resistance. I call this the zone of uncertainty. We don't know if the SPY is going to pull back first or rip up first. We have no freaking idea where the SPY is going to go based on these two key levels. So we're just got to really wait for the market to open and see what the market does. So based on where the SPY may be opening, based on where our key zone of resistance is and key support, I'm going to be hands off probably the first 15 minutes just to gain a sense of clarity and a sense of direction and make sure that I'm not getting in on a subpar trade and taking an unnecessary loss. So today's going to be a very, very patient day. Come into the market, be patient, sit back on your hands, wait for the market to come to you, and just gain a sense of clarity. I don't have a line in the sand today, right? Some days we come in and it's like, guys, we're opening right at a key level. That's your make or break. That's your line in the sand. We have a trading opportunity right at market open. Right now, we do not really have a line in the sand. We're going to be opening right in the middle of those two zones. I'm going to be really, really hands off and then really seeing what the SPY is able to do at some point today and see if it ever comes back down into support. If so, we know we would be looking for some calls. Or if the SPY just decides to push on up into resistance, then that's an area where I will be looking to possibly place some puts today on the SPY. So I do like the Qs better. Right, some days we come in, it's like SPY based on its location, hands off, but then you go look at the Qs and you're like, well, the Qs actually look decent based on its technicals. So the Qs actually look pretty decent, and we may have some out-of-the-gate trades on QQQ. But we can clearly see there's just this big window between this zone of resistance and this zone of resistance, right? These two zones, there's a pretty big, spacing, I guess, between these two areas. So we just got to really, again, sit back and wait to see where the SPY is going to be headed next, all right? But if we go take a look at QQQ here real quick, I do actually like where the Qs are at this point in time. So I do have a key zone of support here on the Qs, back down between 359.94 and 360.45. That's going to be a key area of support here on the Qs. Key overhead resistance, 363.65 to 364.49. That is going to be key overhead resistance. I know I said a moment ago that I'm like, I like the Qs better based on location. Well, this is the first time I've looked at the Qs in the past 30 minutes. And again, at that point in time, I was kind of liking where we were at. And if we would have set more or less sideways near this zone, I would say that's going to be a make or break. That's a line in the sand for an out-of-the-gate trade. Well, right now, it's kind of similar to the SPY, right? Where's key support down here? Where's key resistance up here? We're just right in the middle of those two zones. That's a no-go zone. That's an area where I just want to be hands-off until the market comes to me and possibly sets up in the first place. So that's what I'm going to be doing on the Qs as well, is just sitting back, being patient, and waiting for the market to come to me. Key support here on QQQ, 359.94 to 360.45. Key overhead resistance between 363.65 and 364.49. And like I said, it just depends on where the Qs want to go. If the Qs pull back first into support and we hold on up, that's an area that I want to be looking to play calls off of. Okay, if we push on up and fail to break that zone of resistance and we start to drop on off, that's going to be an area where I'm interested in looking for some put contracts. Okay, if the Qs come on down and crack this zone at any point today and fall below that zone, that would be a great opportunity to be looking for some put contracts for the next leg down. Where could we see QQQ pull back down to if we ever crack below this lower zone of support? We would have room to fade and fall all the way back down towards around 356.99 to 357.53 here on the Qs if we ever were to come on down and potentially crack below that zone and stay below that zone if that's what we see take place. So that would be a nice little short opportunity for today if we ever lose that lower zone of support, fall below it, stay below it. We know the long opportunity today is going to be if we come on down into this lower zone of support and hold on up. That's an area where we want to be looking to play calls, and we know where the other short game plan is for today. That's if the Qs open on up into this overhead zone of resistance. If we fail to break through it and we have good reason to get short, that's going to be an area where I'm looking to start getting shorts here on QQQ today. But there's one final game plan that we haven't established yet, and that's the plan if we break that overhead zone of resistance and continue moving higher today. You know, how much higher could the Qs truly go? I mean, there is a lot of resistance up there, guys. That overhead zone that we just discussed between 363.65 and 364.49, there is a lot of overhead resistance, right? It's the 50 SMA, it's the close prior to the gap down, and we can just look left and see that this is an area that's been hit multiple times. Not only that, that it's also right at your 50 SMA here on QQQ. So with that being said, I would be surprised, right, if we break that level. And the reason I would be surprised is we're starting to get a little overextended to the upside, in my opinion, right? The last 3 days, couple great days, big gap up today, and we have some potential into all of this resistance. That's a pretty big move just over the last couple of days, right? From 344, right? And then 5 days later to potentially be at 364. That's a 20-point move in just 5 trading sessions into a lot of resistance. We would be overextended into that level of resistance, and there's a high probability chance that we are unable to break higher and we start to see a little bit of a pullback, right? Stocks will pull back, right? It's okay if a stock pulls back. We're not just going to go straight up forever. And so, like I said, I would be surprised if we actually see a break through all of this resistance and continue higher. That would put us even more overextended to the upside. So I'll really be watching that zone closely today here on QQQ. 363.65 to 364.49. And if we fail to break that zone, that's a key area that I really, really want to be looking to place some puts back down towards around 360. But if we break that zone and hold that zone, well, I'm not taking puts. That would be calls. Where could we see it go? I mean, our next area of resistance, if we do break that overhead zone, would be I would say right here. Boop, between 366.77 and 367.72 here on QQQ. If we are able to break that overhead zone. Yep, that would be it. So, that's the game plan for the Qs, right? We know where key support's at, key resistance. That's a really, really solid resistance level. It's also that daily 50 SMA. We are overextended to the upside. That would lead me to believe that if we do see good price development and good price action at that zone today, that could be where we top out, and that could be where we start to see our short-term pullback for the next leg on down. So we'll be keeping that area on close watch today here on the Qs. Again, if you guys are just tuning in, what's that zone? It's 363.65 to 364.49. That's going to be a key make or break area for me today with the Qs. If we hit that level, top on out, I'm grabbing the puts, guys. Okay? So, do we have any questions regarding the SPY and the Qs? Okay? The SPY, we have a lot of upside. 428.72 to 429.70. That's our next area of overhead resistance. Key support right now on the SPY, 424.46 to 425. We're right in the middle, right? I got to be hands off and wait and see where the SPY goes first, okay? Pretty simple stuff, though. Just be very patient. I like the Qs more for whatever reason, all right? Just stands out to me. I like the location more. I like how we're developing. I like the Qs and the technicals a lot more than the SPY. So with that being said, I'm going to put more of my focus today here on QQQ over the SPY. And some days that's the case. Some days I come in, I'm like, I don't like the Qs. The SPY is where our focus is. And that's usually the right decision. And then some days I'm like, I actually like the Qs a little bit better than the SPY today. So that's where I want to put my focus. So my focus today is on QQQ. And my focus is at this overhead zone of key resistance, 363.65 to 364.49. And I'm just waiting for the Qs to come up into that zone. If we do top out and if we have good price development, that's where I'm looking to play some puts today. All right, guys. We'll be watching Tesla today. Okay, so Tesla is another one that I do have on watch. And Tesla is starting to break this 211 zone here. So go right into, again, I'm using this 1 hour time frame, no pre-market. No post-market, just to gain some more clarity and just remove those pre-market, post-market points. So we can clearly see that Tesla has a lot of prior support and resistance in this zone between 211.47 and 212.47. We can see it was that gap down low. We came back into it. held as support, then it turned into solid resistance before that big drop on off. Okay, that's going to be a key area that I'm watching today on Tesla. Go right into your 5-minute time frame. Tesla is actually above that key zone. That's a line in the sand for me with Tesla. That is a line in the sand. That is a make or break on Tesla. Is that zone between 211.47 and 212.47. Okay, if we hold that zone on up, we can see Tesla push all the way into this next overhead zone of resistance, and that's going to put you up between 220 and 222.07. Okay, so if Tesla does indeed hold our line in the sand, that make or break level, there is a lot of great potential to see Tesla squeeze on up to 220 today. That's where I'd be looking to enter some calls, right, for the next leg up into the 220s. However, what if Tesla comes down to that key zone and falls below it, and then stays below it as resistance? Well, I'm absolutely looking to get short on Tesla. If we ever fall back below that zone, come on up into that zone, and hold below it as resistance, that would give us a lower high, number one, and a potential crack of this trend line from yesterday. We have a solid trend line from yesterday here on Tesla. I mean, look at how many times we've hit it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Run that trend line. Extend it out to the right. That's going to be a key area to keep on watch for today, is going to be that trend line. And so that's the short plan. If we fall below that line in the sand, maybe come down and hit that trend line and bounce. Come back into that zone as resistance, and if we fail to break it and we ever see that trend line crack, that would give us a beautiful lower high, crack of the trend line off of a key level of resistance. That would be an exceptional trading opportunity for me to get short if that even takes place. And I'm stretching. That may not even happen, but I like to think ahead, right? What if we do see that formation? I already know that I'm getting short. I know exactly how I'm getting positioned. I know exactly what I want to see, where my stop would go, where my entry is, where my target is. I am one step ahead of 90% of traders. This may never take place. This may never set up. It's okay. I wasted 2 minutes to build a plan. So big deal. I'm out 2 minutes of my time. But if it does set up, I'm prepared and I'm ready to attack, and I don't have to scramble to build a plan. I can just simply react at that point in time. But again, what's the opposite plan in place? That's the calls. That's the long opportunity if we hold that key zone on up. And if that's what we see today, I'm playing calls into the 220s here on Tesla. Tesla looks really good, and I want to keep a lot of my focus here on Tesla today. Affirm, scratch that. It's already breaking that daily gap level, so we can scratch Affirm altogether. Roku, it's a back burner off earnings. Google, Alphabet, only if the market moves higher today. So if we see the market continue to rip and run today and move higher, so like the SPY and the Qs, we're just looking great. We're bullish. We're still squeezed into the upside. Then I would entertain Google, Alphabet, right? And what I'm looking for is a possible daily gap fill. So here's your gap down high a day at 130.11 on GOOG. That's your gap down high a day. If we see the SPY pushing higher, the Qs pushing higher, and everything's having a nice green day, and we see more upside, I would be interested in possibly getting calls, getting long here on GOOG if we ever break and hold that gap down high at 130.11. So that's all I would really want to see, is have GOOG come on up, break that 130.11, hold that level. That would put us inside of that daily gap, and we could start to see some great upside here for a potential daily gap fill. Where could we see GOOG go? Well, our main target is going to be to close that gap at 135.12, which is also right at your 50 SMA. But there will be one pit stop along the way up, and that's going to be your 20 EMA at 132. But our main target would be all the way up here at that 135 level. That's going to be that lower shadow that creates this gap. That would be a gap fill target, and it just so happens to be the 50 SMA as well, guys. Okay, so that's what I would like to see here on GOOG if the overall market is looking good today. If we are looking bullish, if we're moving to the upside, very possible we see Google continue to follow and correlate with the overall market, break that 130.11, hold above 130.11, and then start working its way on up for a potential daily gap fill opportunity. So I will be watching GOOG. Now, it's more of a back burner, right? Tesla looks a lot better. Tesla looks phenomenal. I'm putting a lot of focus on Tesla, guys, right? I even like the Qs. I'm putting a lot of my focus here on QQQ. Google looks decent, but it's not one that takes priority in my opinion. It's good enough to watch, but I'm not going to, put it as a priority stock, a priority opportunity where it goes to the top of the watch list. It's more or less a little bit of a back burner for me at this point in time, but I will be watching it to see if we ever have that daily gap fill opportunity present itself, okay? And other than that, just a lot more back burners, right? There's maybe some potential on Amazon, but again, Tesla and the Qs look a lot better. That's where I want to put my focus. Meta has potential coming on up, but again, Tesla and the Qs look a lot better. So I do have Meta on watch today. I do have Roku on watch today off earnings to see if there's any intraday opportunity. And I do have Amazon on watch today as well to see if there's any intraday opportunity, guys. But out of the gates, right, Tesla is one of my top plays to be watching. That's where most of my focus is going. Number two, the Qs. I would love to see if the Qs can pull back into that zone of support and then make a decision. If we hold on up, I'm grabbing calls. If we fall below it, stay below it, I'm playing puts. The Qs look fantastic down at that key zone of support. I only need 2 or 3 really, really good looking opportunity to have my watch list established and really know where my focus is going to be right at the start of the day. And my focus is right here on the SPY, here on the Qs, and then mostly Tesla at 9:30 market open. Okay, a couple back burner opportunities. Google. Okay, you guys know the game plan for a possible daily gap fill. That's if we see the entire market moving higher today. We see some correlation and upside movement. I would entertain a long idea on Google for that daily gap fill. And then again, Amazon, it's subpar. If it sets up today, I'll bring it to your guys' attention. Meta, same thing. It's decent, but it's kind of subpar. If it does set up based on my expectations, I will then bring it to your attention. And then we will just be taking a peek at Roku to see if Roku ever sets up for us today as well. All right, guys. So those are my top 3 plays, my top 3 opportunities, my game plans with the SPY, the Qs, and then my number 1 pick of the day, which is Tesla, and then my game plan on Tesla for today as well, guys. Okay? And then lastly, let's discuss that one small cap. That's going to be CLLS, guys. CLLS. And here's what I want to do is I want to remove this daily zone, and I want to go right back into all of these highs from yesterday. So we had a crap ton of resistance just right through this little window. I mean, there was a lot of resistance here from yesterday, right? We can all agree that we were just having a really hard time breaking that zone between like 284 and 287. And we could probably widen that zone a little bit and connect more of these points here and really get it dialed in. But this is a pretty solid zone of resistance from yesterday. Like, we have a lot of upper shadows that was really tough to break above. If we return into the zone, right, it could hold as really, really good support, number 1. So that key zone on CLLS is down between 282 and 289. What's something else that I'm noticing here on CLLS as well? Not only would we be pulling back into this key zone of prior resistance as potential new support, but it's also this solid trend line from yesterday, right? 2 great points from yesterday. You had a connection in post-market, and it is in line with all of that resistance from yesterday, that zone that we just established. So if we see CLLS open, come down into that zone and hold a support, it would also put you at this trend line, and we could see a nice bounce and see the next leg higher. Those are my expectations today here with CLLS, okay? I would like to see if we can open, pull back into this 282 to 289 zone. Also come down hit that trend line and bounce. If we see that take place, I want to be getting long at that zone off the trend line. I will simply put my stop loss right below the trend line, right below that zone of support, and we would have a pre-market high target here on CLLS. I mean, look at that risk to reward, right? Great low risk entries. You're risking maybe 10 cents at most, multiple separate reasons and 2 valid reasons of support down here in the 280s. And we have great upside potential back into the 330s. That gives you a solid 5-to-1 opportunity on CLLS. So I want to be watching this one closely here at the start of the day as well. And that is the only penny stock that has really stood out to me. And this is not even a fresh mover up today. This was one of yesterday's top gainers, right? But it looks great for another day of continuation to the upside today, guys. I will be watching CLLS, okay? Now, is there any other stocks that you guys are watching? Anything that you're looking at, anything that you're watching, anything that you want me to take a peek at? Let's make sure that you guys are prepared. Any penny stocks? Any option plays? Let's take a look at them. David, Josh, your teaching is spot on, but your drawing is as good as market up and down. Yeah, right? It's like, hey, man, your analysis is spot on, but your drawings are super subpar. Yeah, they're not very good now, are they? That's awesome. USO, let's go look at USO. Remember that we said that trend line is a key area to watch, right? In that zone is a key area to watch. Well, it looks like we're cracking the trend line number 1, and we're falling below that zone number 2. Yeah, we're below the zone. We're below the trend line. That would be no calls. I wouldn't even entertain calls until we're back above 75.21 to 75.64. Like, if this is a false move below that zone and that trend line, and we snap back above that zone, snap back above that trend line and regain it and hold it, that's the type of development and the type of price action that you would want to see to confirm there is still long opportunity up into that 78, 79 region there on USO. But right now, we came back below that zone. We retested that zone as resistance this morning, and now we're cracking that trend line. That looks to be bearish at this point in time. I would not be surprised if we see USO start to pull back down to this zone of support between 73.38 and 73.61. So again, I would not be surprised if you see USO pull back into the mid 73s, because we already saw a crack and a retest at that zone, respecting it beautifully as resistance, and we are cracking that daily uptrend, going from the bullish side to the bearish side. So I would not entertain calls right now. I would be waiting to see, are we going to pull back into the 73.50 region and then see what takes place. So I wouldn't be looking for calls. Maybe be looking for puts. If we see USO push back up into that trend line, into that zone and get rejected, that would give us some great opportunity to look to place some puts down into the mid 73s there on USO. Amazon, let's go look at Amazon. I had Amazon on watch. But, you know, it was one of those subpar opportunities. And again, it kind of, it's the same thing with the spine to Qs. We're overextended, right? I mean, from this gap up and then how we've been pushing here, I mean, what are we up here, guys? I mean, Amazon in just the past like 4 to 5 trading sessions has gone from 118 to 138. That's not a substantial move, but it's still 20 points to the upside. We can see that it's just straight up into a lot of resistance. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see Amazon, you at least start to try and pull back a little bit before getting its next leg to the upside, right? We are very overextended into a lot of resistance on Amazon. So here's a couple key areas to be watching today here on Amazon. Okay, so we got some key support down between 137 and 137.34. Okay, so we got some key support between 137 and 137.34 on Amazon. Key resistance up between 139.41 and 140. Okay, and then if we crack, all right, that would be right. So let's go grab that zone. Let's go up underneath those lows. Ba-dink! Just like that. And that'll give us our lower zone of support. So we also need to grab the overhead zone of resistance. I would be surprised if we're able to push through all this resistance. But the market's the market. It's going to do what it wants to do. And we just trade accordingly. Regardless of where the market wants to go in the first place, we just trade accordingly. We don't come with any bias. We just trade the market long if the market wants to go long. So here's the game plan on Amazon if you're watching Amazon, right? You got your key zone of support between 137 and 137.34, key overhead resistance between 139.41 and 140, right? We are very overextended to the upside into a lot of resistance. So game plan number one is the short plan. If Amazon pushes on up into all of this resistance, tops out, starts to roll on over, and we have good price developments, this would be a key zone to be looking to play puts off of. Not only that, we are very overextended into a lot of this resistance, which does increase the probabilities that we could see a nice little pullback. That would be where I'm thinking of playing puts on Amazon. We're overextended into resistance. If we top out, start to get rejected, roll on over, good price development, that's going to be an area where I'm considering to play puts for the next leg down into that key zone of support. Okay? Game plan number two. Amazon opens, pulls back into support, and holds beautifully. Right? Then we could look to get long for that leg up into that key overhead zone of resistance. If Amazon just wants to push higher today, we break and hold that zone, well, hey, scratch the short idea. Simply look to play calls. Where to? Your next overhead zone of resistance between 140.79 and 141.27. So, again, that's 140.94 to 141.27 there on Amazon. Okay? And then if we come on down to that zone of support and don't hold it, let's say we crack below it and stay below it, that's when we can see Amazon back down at 135. So you got key support, key resistance, wait for the market to come to you, and then just see what happens, right? We know what we would want to see to play puts. We know what we want to see to play calls. You just got to wait for one of those two things to really set up in the first place, okay? Kevin, get your butt inside of the Zoom today as well if you can, man. You don't have to open the mic or anything like that. But again, if you want to be here, if you have questions during the day, you want to open the mic, feel free to do so, Kevin. So come on down. You too, David. You too. Everybody in Market Mastery, the Zoom is open. Come on in. We got the hype man showing up. Mr. Anthony. What's up, brother? He is slacking. What's up with you, man? Good morning. What's up? What's up? How you feeling today, man? We got a risk on day, risk off day. What's that assessment? Dope, man. I can dig it. Did you take advantage of any of the opportunity yesterday around the press conference? Yep. Gotcha. Cool, man. I can dig it. But still a profitable day, right? Hell yeah. I can dig it. Good start to the month. What about you, Anthony? How'd you do yesterday, man?
Good morning.
I'm fantastic. How are you doing, man? Awesome, dude. I love it. How was your day yesterday? Good red day? Okay. Okay. No, and you know me, when I say good red day, I mean like you did everything right, you followed your system, you followed your rules, but you had some good losses, and it was a good red day. Versus, yeah, I FOMO'd in, you know.
No, I didn't FOMO. I just made the wrong decision at the wrong time.
Okay. Still manage your risk, cut your losers. It was a good red day then, right? So, good stuff, man. We have them. They come and they go.
Somebody's asking why I bet for
Yeah, so the link is posted every single morning at 9 a.m. Every day inside of Slack, number one. Number two, it's also posted in the Market Mastery room here inside of the platform. And then I'm just letting Zach hang out as long as possible so I can see him say, "Let me in."
You need a vibe board.
A what?
A vibe board.
A vibe board?
Yes, you can put these cards up and stream it on Zoom and draw on it with your game. Set up a vibe.
No shit.
And it's like $3,000 to $6,000.
I don't want that then. I'm okay. Do I get an ROI on that? Probably not, so I will pass. Brandon, day number 2. How are you doing today?
Very good.
Awesome, man. Good stuff. Ready to attack the day today?
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to, Nas had a huge push, this morning and last night, so I'm trying to learn to fly a little bit. So, that way I can really start, being on the same page, but, still learning, trying to make that transition.
Gotcha, brother. And so when you say like Nas, right, are you trading the Qs or are you trading futures?
The NASDAQ 100,
So you're trading futures, so you're trading NQ.
yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And so, yeah, when we do the breakdown, the analysis on like the SPY, that'll apply to like ES. And very similar, right? So when we're doing our levels and our...
They are very similar. Just the zone, just looking at the support resistance, and it's a little bit hard to look up, especially with the large push. So that's why I'm looking, just trying to find that the differences, to see what I will be successful at. So, definitely open to the SPY, so I've got my start marked up for SPY, as well as my NASDAQ chart.
I love it, brother. Yeah, and I'm going to take a peek at NAS as well over on, NQ and just kind of let you know what I'm seeing right now. Maybe, add a little bit of clarity to the table. And I know Corey looks at NQ and ES as well, so maybe he can throw up a beautiful little chart and share some of his zones with you. But I like it, man. Coming in and just kind of getting a feel for things, taking it, nice and easy in the beginning, just getting up and running. All the fun stuff happens on Monday when we talk. But I always like to start here before we really start our day is, what are your goals and intentions for the day? Like, what are you looking to accomplish in the market, out of the market? Do we have those goals and intentions set for today?
Not yet, they're not written down, so.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I do have them, so this is a transition period from time to time.
I love it, brother. Awesome. So I'd say goals and intentions for the day is just keep doing what you're doing. It's just like getting to know the SPY, marking up the SPY zones, levels, right? And just watching development, watching movements to get to know it a little bit more. That'd be a good goal and a good intention for today.
Yeah, and I've been breaking bad habits because I can tell you yesterday that I've been revenge trade a lot. And I get bored, so I go back and trade without doing, without marking those levels and just trading on my phone when I don't. So yesterday I can say that I did not trade after a session, and I just let it.
Awesome, man.
So I had a day in green, but I'll keep that and not be greedy.
I love it, dude. I love it. So right now, are you logging the trades that you're taking? Have you started that process yet?
Not yet, I have not. That will probably be my either jumping here. It's March just opened up, so if you want to go back to that chart on 5.
Sorry, you hit something on the head, and I'm typing it under your profile. I keep tabs on all you guys. So anytime I hear something, I'm like, we need to talk about this. So I'm taking notes. But awesome, man. Yeah. So you haven't started the trade log journal process, but we'll start jamming on that come Monday, so we can effectively move the needle. So for now, just stick to doing what you're doing. I think great goals and intentions. Get to know the SPY, all that good stuff. Get familiar with it. But Yeah, on NAS in Q, you know, I would just be looking at this zone back down here between like, you know, 14,877 and 14,887. Just coming back down into all of this prior resistance that we had. Curious to see if we have any good price development down here that would indicate maybe a potential move higher. So that would be like the first area of support that I see coming on up. We could probably widen that zone a little bit if we wanted to, but at least we're grabbing those absolute highs before that massive drop on off. Grabbing that high. We peeked through a little bit, but still closed below it, got rejected, and then a lot of downside. So I'd be curious to see what are we going to do back down around, you know, that zone there. And we could even probably grab this out to the left, and we can see we even have more validation right in that little window. So we'll keep that one on watch here.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at, just trying to look at both of them and see, but they are very, very interesting. So, obviously.
100%. Zach, what's up, brother?
Sorry, I wasn't still there.
Oh, you're in the zone? Go back into the zone, man.
I'm just trying to get my stupid active trader to work here.
When you're in the zone, you just give me the... Do they have a middle finger thing on Zoom to where you can just give me the finger?